therefore, they went, and when they went there, he was there in the outer garden, frying a steak, but there was something in his hand. There was a bottle of holy water. And he was sprinkling the holy water on the steak, and he was telling loudly, "You were born a cow, you were raised a cow, now onwards you are a fish." Most of the time you think that this is evangelization. This is not evangelization. This is something more than that. You see, evangelization cannot be this. And there's a reason to understand what evangelization is all about. We require to go back to Jesus. And I would just love to see Jesus in his two faces. Two faces. One, Jesus fully human. Second, Jesus fully divine. And unless we see these two faces of Jesus and make these two faces of Jesus our own, I think we will be missing something. How does Jesus see Jesus in his two faces? Let us see first is human face. What was the creative dream of God for you and for me? That would be the first question I would ask. What God actually intended for you and for me when he created you and me as human beings. God doesn't want that I and you be saints. Saints as angels. He wants us all to be saints, but as human beings. Angelic ideology is not human. And therefore we require to understand that he wants all of us to be fully human. And what does it mean to be fully human? Let's go back to Genesis. How God wanted us to be. If you go back to Genesis chapter 3 verse 8, there you come across a beautiful statement. Every evening, God used to walk in the garden along with Adam and Eve. Every evening, God used to walk along with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Who walks along with? Who walks along with? The equals? Husband and wife? Lovers? Friends? Parents and children? The one who are most of the time want to be together. If this is the reality, what God wants us to be, or wanted us to be with him all the time. And therefore, one of the most important aspects of our creative ideology is this, that God wants you and me together with him all the time. Are we there with him? Or is he there with us? Is the question that we require to ask. How did God create you and me? If you go back to Genesis 1:27, there you find another beautiful statement. God created you in his own image and likeness. In his own image and likeness. Who is God? Who is God? At least according to St. John. God is love. And if God is love, who are we who are created in his own image and likeness? Love. That is our nature. And therefore God wants us all to be love, because we are primarily love, a love that we have received from God in our creation. How were Adam and Eve for each other? The Genesis 3:9 says they were naked. What does it mean to be naked? To be totally transparent. To be totally open. And who can be totally transparent and open? Only those who are in love. And therefore, children, small children, are not frightened to be naked before their parents. Husband and wife, they are not frightened to be naked before each other. Why? Because they are in love. Love is the only way that makes us transparent, open to each other, nothing else. And that's the creative ideology. How we are supposed to be to the animal world. Somebody asked me the other day, Father, you are coming from India, right? I told, yes. There are plenty of snakes, Father. I told, yes. Oh, terrible. I told, why? I told, they don't hurt me. I'm there. Yeah. I saw practically a 12, what is called feet long cobra the other day, and I allowed it to go. My workers asked me, Father, should we cut, what is called, should we attack it, or should we, kill it? I told, no. Why should? You're all frightened of snakes, right? And if I tell you there is a snake under your, what is called, bench, what will happen? You'll run for life. Don't forget, you had a glorious dialogue with the serpent. How were we called upon to live with the animal world? With the same love and affection. And don't think it is impossible. Who is that saint who did that? Who lived with the animals? St. Francis Assisi. You see? He could call even the wild animals his brothers and sisters, the fish, It's possible. It's possible. And I'll tell you, it's possible. I will experience. God created everything. And then it was brought before Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve named them all. Who named you? Who named you?
Parents.
Oh, your parents. So whose prerogative is to name someone? Parent. Okay? Now, if Adam and Eve named the whole nature and everything in the nature, who are we to the nature? You see? Now, these are the different dimensions of living our human life. To be together with God, to be open to each other, in the likeness of God, to be friendly with the animal world, and to be parental to the nature. This is the dimension of our human life. Now, what was the first question God asked Adam and Eve after the fall? What was the first question? Where are you? And what do you understand by that now, after all my explanation? Adam, I created you to my level. To what level have you gone? And for what? And what is the answer Adam gives? I heard the sound of your footsteps, and I was frightened, and therefore I hid myself because I was naked. I was frightened. Fear and love can never go together. Where there is fear, there is no love, and where there is no human ideology. I'll give you another beautiful example. Do you know the human person we call him the crown of creation, right? Right? And do you know the human person is the only person or only creature that can stand erect? And that's the reason we call him Homo erectus. And what does it mean, symbolically or metaphorically? When I stand erect, what do I see? I see my people in front of me. I see the nature in front of me. I see my God above me. Do I see myself? Do I see myself? If I have to see myself, what I have to do?
Look down.
I have to bend. And when I bend, what do I see? My 2 feet and a little mud around it. Right? Is not most of us live only on that principle? Is not all our life just a means of protectionism? To protect my feet, I protect a little mud around me. Is not that? I want my job, I want my security, I want this, I want that. Are we not indirectly frightened people? And therefore, because of our fear, if you are bend and walk, who are we? Who bends and walks? Animals. So where have you gone? Where are you? And for what? You see,